welcome to Max Gise Music. Glad you're here. In today's edition of Riff of the Week, we're covering a great riff by the band Foo Fighters, Stranger Things Have Happened. I'm going a little bit different than my normal riff series here. Most of the time I cover big, well-known classic, everybody knows these riffs. This one is definitely lesser known, but it's a great acoustic rock riff on this awesome record, Echoes, Silence, Patience, and Grace, released by the Foo Fighters in 2007. A really awesome album. This wasn't one of the hits on it, but it's a great riff. I think you'll really like it. It's played on acoustic guitar. It uses some basic fingerstyle technique, so your thumb and your index and middle finger together makes it really excellent for somebody who likes rock and wants to do a little bit of fingerstyle stuff on their acoustic guitar. I don't know, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give it like a 3 or a 4. It's got a couple of tricky things in it, but otherwise it's a fairly easy riff, and it is very repetitious, repeats most of the song. Now, some of you might have been watching me talk on and go, that looks like a really nice acoustic guitar. If you did notice that, congratulations, you have a good eye for noticing fine acoustic instruments. I'll tell you a little bit more about it at the end of the lesson. Now I'd like to go ahead and teach you how to play Stranger Things Have Happened. I'm going to teach it to you using the right hand fingers. So just a real quick reminder of the notation. P is for thumb, or pulgar. I and M represent index and middle. So P, thumb, index, and middle. A great way to keep track of this is anytime you see the two notes together, that dyad, that's going to be played with the index and middle finger. Note that's going to be kind of a scooping technique. Try to avoid pulling away from the guitar. So when you play that technique, don't do this. Swing your fingers into your hand. A great way to warm up on this technique is to rest your index and middle finger on the middle strings and then just play steady pulse with your thumb, just to kind of get that warmed up. Do that on the 5th string for a while. Do that on the 6th string. I'm going to try to find a nice, easy motion. Notice my thumb is in front of my index and middle finger. That's a really key element to fingerstyle playing. The next thing you'll do is rest on your thumb. Practice grabbing that index and middle finger together. Be sure to once again bring it into the hand. Alright, so let me kind of walk you through slowly how to play this riff with the left hand. So we'll start from the first measure. So if we look at that first bar right there, that was all played with the second and the third finger. Grab that together, so thumb, thumb, index and middle, thumb, index and middle, index and middle. That move right there that you see on beats and of 2, 3, and then beat and of 3. That's a little micro move you're going to want to practice in this bar. Here's the whole measure again. Now, even though this last note is in this first bar, it really belongs to the next bar. We've anticipated this D/F sharp chord. Once you play that note, none of the other fingers are touching the strings. Be sure you have your middle finger more towards its tip so you can hear the open 5th and 4th string underneath. So, and of 4, 1, and of 1, and. When you get to this part, I'd recommend go ahead and moving the middle finger to play that 2 and open, index finger, 1st fret, 6th string, thumb, thumb. For the next bar, you can leave your middle finger right where it is. When we add the 2nd fret to the 4th string, we're going to use our ring finger there. Just like the first measure, this third measure, that and of 2, 3, and of 3, that little mini chunk is a great thing to practice. Mostly to work out the coordination between the hands. So we have that thumb, and then the double index middle, and then of course we have something changing on the left hand part. Here is the last 2 bars all together, starting from the and of 4 of beat 2. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and... When you get to the final beat here, play that 5th string with your thumb, pluck the open 4th string with just your index finger. While your finger's in the air, your middle finger's going to come right back to the 2nd fret, 5th string, and then you can repeat the riff again. It's a very hypnotic sounding riff, great chords. B minor 7, a D with F sharp in the bass. It's very low voicing for that chord. And then that F5 is really just a passing tone, and this E7 with no 3rd. So I know it's a fancy name, but just some really nice dark sounding chords. If you listen to the song, no, it's not one of the hits on the record, but he just more or less plays this several times over. I would say, as described at the beginning of the lesson, it is the main riff of this song. The rhythm to this is the trickiest bit. I would definitely isolate those last 2 bars, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, and take it to beat 1. So the and of 4 of bar 2 to beat 1 on the repeat. Part of that is getting your eyes to jump. The other part is just kind of getting used to how those 2 parts sync up. One final note about the rhythm that makes this really cool, I think it's always important to keep in mind when you look at music by David Grohl. He's an amazing writer, composer, singer, lyricist, but he's a drummer at heart, and I tend to notice certain rhythmic patterns that really jump out in Foo Fighters riffs. If you look at this music, the 4 bars, you start on the beat. On the next bar, you anticipate it, so that's where you start on the and of 4. On the next bar, you anticipate again, and then on the final bar, before you repeat, it's on the beat, and then when you repeat, it's back on the beat. So it has this neat pattern of being on 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, repeat 1. And that really creates this nice kind of momentum and balance and unbalance throughout the recording. So just kind of a neat feature that might help you keep the rhythm together a bit more. So one more time through the riff. On the beat. On the beat. Anticipate. Anticipate. There you go. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. That's Stranger Things Have Happened. A great acoustic riff. Sounds really good. I hope you enjoy working on the fingerstyle element of this, and it really just involves a couple fingers in open position. A couple of nice sounds. If you're a beginning guitar player, you may not have heard before. If you're a more advanced guitar player, maybe a cool riff you haven't learned before. And of course, if you're a guitar teacher watching this, hey, use it for your students. I think it's a great riff, easy to teach. Alright, so I promised you earlier I would talk a little bit about this guitar, my new baby. Just picked this up from Guitars International in Cleveland. This is a 2008 Gary Southwell spruce top Brazilian rosewood back and sides. Beautiful instrument. So I feel so blessed and lucky to get to play and teach on this guitar, and I am looking forward to playing more for you on this guitar and recording a record here in a couple of months. And got a lot of good plans in the works using this instrument. It just sounds phenomenal. I apologize, my mixing skills aren't wonderful, and Logic, hopefully they'll get better, but I'm going to take this bad boy into a studio and make some wonderful music for you. So I hope you'll stay tuned, check out some of my other music, really appreciate your time and sticking around, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one. Until then, practice hard.